All right, back on the show, and the countdown to week 1 of the NFL season is on. It starts on Thursday night. Of course, the Bengals will play on Sunday in Baltimore. We've got the beat writers from the Enquirer, Paul Dehner Jr., and of course, the Skin Man, Richard Skinner, is here.
I'm always here, I think.
You are
every week.
Yeah, you could write your stories from here.
Maybe.
Well, unfortunately, no. But I digress. Poll question, guys. Everyone just saw it. Win total for the Bengals this year. Paul will give you the first crack at it. 13 or more, 10 to 12 like last year, 8, 9. Where are they going to be?
I've got to be fair to where my prediction is going to come out this year, and I have 9 wins. The schedule on the back end is just brutal. When you're talking 5 of the last 7 on the road, and the 2 at home being against Denver and Pittsburgh, you're really asking a lot of a team. So when you throw in the tougher schedule, and in the past, Mike Zimmer's done an incredible job of making up for injuries with the way that he coaches and coordinates that defense. I think Paulie G is fantastic, but it's his first season. Right. Mike Zimmer been around for a long time. I think as injuries start to pile up, I think maybe you see a little bit of that fall when you combine those two things.
Skinny, the first 5 weeks of the season are no walk in the park either. At Baltimore is somebody else's opener, difficult. Atlanta is not going to be 4 and 12
and New England on the road.
New England on the road, yeah. What do you think?
I'm going to go. I think they can win 11 games. I really and truly do. I think the back end, there's no question, is difficult. The funny part is in the first 9 games, you have 6 home games. You almost have to go 6-0 if you hope for this team to get to 11, 10, 11, 12 wins. The back end of that schedule is really difficult, and there's a lot of coin flip games in there. I mean, Denver at home is a coin flip game. They could easily lose it, as Paul alluded to. Pittsburgh at home is never an easy game. It is a really tough schedule, but you best go 6-0 at home the first 9, or you have no chance to get to 10 or 11 wins.
Team obviously has been in the playoffs 3 straight years, lost 3 straight playoff games. Never before has that happened where they've been to the postseason 3 straight years. Paul, it's hard in this league to make the postseason 4 straight times. It has to be the perfect confluence of everything working out, including health. Are we getting a little greedy in what we're expecting of this football team? Meaning, if they don't win a playoff game this year, it's a disappointing year.
I don't think so. I mean, if you look at the roster, what do we talk about all the time with this team? It's how deep this roster is, how much talent. And this is emerging talent, emerging into their prime. Ever since the 2011 reboot, you have seen building towards these prime years for these guys. I mean, you can't ask anything more than your quarterback, your top receiver, your running backs are all young and entering the main part of their prime. This is when you have to win. So I don't think you're asking too much. I think it's set up for them to win. And I think they'll make the playoffs. But once they get there, something different has to happen, obviously.
Skinny, let me ask you about some personnel issues here. We'll start with the rookies. How much will we see of Darqueze Dennard? And I'll throw in Jeremy Hill as well. Now with Ben Jarvis out of the picture, clearly they're relying on him.
Well, the biggest rookie you're going to see is Russell Bodine playing center. That's the number one thing. He's going to start from day one with Haloti Ngata breathing down his neck, spitting on him, yelling at him, all that stuff. I mean, so that's a big start right there. Dennard, you don't have to rush, and I guess that's the good thing. That being said, I know Marvin has talked glowingly of him and the fact that he could step in and probably play right away, and that might be a good thing if Leon Hall were to get hurt, which he's done. Terrence Newman's kind of the back 9 of his career, so that could happen too. That's a good part too. I love Jeremy Hill. I think before it's all said and done, Jeremy Hill leads this team in rushing. I don't think he leads them from yards from scrimmage because Gio will still probably do that, but he's going to lead them in rushing. He's got a chance to be a really good player.
Some nuts and bolts things. How much will they miss Marvin Jones?
Well, I mean, you're talking 3 games more than likely, and Mohamed Sanu has had a great camp. I think there's so many ways with the weapons that they have around that offensively that I think they can scheme for it. When you have Tyler Eifert and Jermaine Gresham, and in camp, a lot of Giovanni Bernard out in the slot, even Dane Sansabacher has looked pretty good out there as well. So you have enough weapons. I don't think they'll miss it now. If
16 games would be bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you're talking the whole season, if you're talking 3 games and then probably another 2 to 4 for him to really get back into Marvin Jones shape, I think it's survivable, certainly. Now, if Mohamed Sanu goes down in week 1 or A.J. Green or there's another injury, then I think the ripple effect, you start to feel that.
Can Geno Atkins be expected to shoulder a full load week 1?
Not week 1. I mean, he's going to play enough snaps to at least have to factor into the equation when Baltimore game plans. I can't see him even taking more than 50% of the snaps, to be honest with you. The hope for Geno would be maybe week 5 or week 6 he starts to get into this, and that includes the bye week in there, but week 1, not a chance.
Is this Vontaze Burfict's defense now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think he has become the face.
Even with Geno, I think it's Vontaze.
Even with Geno, because the thing is, it's not so much that he's the best player out there, which he would be in that conversation.
Thanks to Mike. I mean,
it's that he's the attitude. They have taken on his chippiness. They have taken on the way he approaches the game.
And finally, is this the year for Andy Dalton? And it's the entire team. It's not just all Andy Dalton. But is this the year they finally win that postseason game, Paul?
I don't. I think they're going to get beaten down at the back end of the schedule, and I think it's going to be a problem sneaking into the back end and having a tough matchup in the first round. I don't think it happens this year.
Richard?
I think it does, and I think if they can somehow get home field, they've got a chance to get to the Super Bowl. But boy, it's going to be interesting because that's all anybody's going to care about is when we get to week 18 in the playoffs, for goodness sakes.
Well, and the division and the AFC playoff race could be incredibly affected by the Denver game.
No question. I mean, those last handful again.
It's all going to be on the line in Week 17 against Pittsburgh. I guarantee that.
Could be. Paul Dehner Jr., enjoy your first season on the beat. Richard, enjoy your first comeback season on the beat. Guys, safe travels to Baltimore.